Module 3, Rules and Regulations. This module will cover different rules and regulations of driving airside. Prior to operating any vehicle or piece of equipment, you must ensure that you complete all daily checks and inspections on the equipment using the forms provided by your supervisor or manager. If something seems off or there's a Do Not Operate tag displayed on the equipment, you must not operate this equipment until maintenance provides approval that the equipment is safe to use. It is important that you familiarize yourself with the various speed limits at your airport. These can differ depending on the area you are driving in, the weather and visibility, as well as whether there are pedestrians around you. So if you are ever unsure, be sure to ask a supervisor or manager for clarification. It is also important that you know who has the right-of-way on the ramp. You should always yield to aircrafts whether they are under power or being towed. Emergency vehicles responding to an incident also have the right-of-way. Other vehicles you should yield to are passenger buses, any equipment or vehicle that is clearing the ramp, fuel trucks, and airfield maintenance equipment. There may be other vehicles that you need to yield to specific to your airport, but this will be covered in your classroom training. Here are some examples of an apron passenger pathline and pedestrian crosswalk. An apron passenger pathline represents a safe corridor that passengers and crew can utilize to move between the aircraft and the terminal during loading operations. Pedestrian crosswalks simply mark a walking area. If an airplane is parked on the operational stand associated with the apron passenger paths or pedestrian crosswalks, you are prohibited to travel across or park between these lines. You may see many different signs while driving airside. Some you may recognize from driving to and from work, such as speed limit signs and stop signs, whereas some are more industry specific. Your location may have more or different signs from other airports, which you will learn about when further preparing for your AVOP. There are many different markings on the ramp which should be very noticeable. There can be words, lines, and even different colors that have various meanings. You will learn all about these markings in your classroom and AVOP driver training. You will also encounter many different lights along different runways and taxiways with various colors. These colors have different meanings, which will be explained in greater detail during your classroom training. You should never leave a vehicle or equipment unattended on any vehicular route or aircraft movement area. Airside areas designated as ERS only are for emergency response service vehicles, so it is not permitted to park any vehicles or cargo in these areas. If you do need to park a vehicle or piece of equipment, you are permitted to park it within apron safety lines and staging areas, or in marked parking stalls. Vehicles and equipment left outside these areas may be towed at the company's expense, and an AVOP violation may be issued to the operator. Is there a helipad at your base? If so, you will receive further training on how to drive around a helipad. In general, these areas should be treated like other controlled areas, with a right-of-way always given to helicopters. Other rules you must follow on the ramp include remaining a minimum of 7.5 meters away from an aircraft parked in an operational stand, unless servicing the aircraft, not driving over hoses or cables, remaining a minimum of 2 meters from hydrant fueling pits, and not parking behind a cart or truck involved in fueling or catering an aircraft. Your vehicle must also never pass between enplaning or deplaning passengers and the gate or aircraft, an aircraft and the marshaller, or travel under a jet bridge unless in a vehicle corridor. If you need to drive in a controlled area, you must have a D-AVOP and radio operator's license. You must also ensure that your vehicle is equipped with a radio so that you are able to converse with ground control to receive clearance. If you only have a DA-AVOP, you will not be permitted to radio for clearances, and therefore will only be permitted to drive on uncontrolled surfaces, such as the airport apron. In this module, you learned about general rules and regulations as they apply to driving or operating equipment on the ramp. When you are ready, please continue to the quiz.